So, what do you do intentionally to make your partner feel supported?
I will say I just give him the free range to do as he pleases. If anything is needed of me, I try to be there, whether it's financially, emotionally, and you just want to be encouraging to your partner and let them know that win or lose, you always got their back and give them the strength to pick themselves up and try again. That's where I try to play my role.
Yeah,
What you do?
I think, I think that we both are very similar to that. I think that is one of the pieces of our love language that is synonymous. Like for instance, or even like, Reggie is very structured, where as I am like a creative, and I can be very all over the place, and whereas I will quit a job. Well, when I
Yes.
was working jobs, I would quit a job at the drop of a hat, and not care about a bill or anything, and we gonna figure it out.
And
Whereas,
I'm
like,
the one who will stay on the job for
stay,
5 years
and
to
so
figure
like
it out. I need a consistent check coming through there.
exactly, and so in that, but even when I knew that when he was working like certain jobs he didn't like or anything like that, and I would say, Reggie, go, just quit, just quit the job, and we gonna figure it out. And he was
And
like,
that
no.
sounded like he was speaking gibberish to
Yeah, and
me.
he would
I didn't hear
stay and
that.
like be consistent, but like having that support to know that if he did choose to leave, that I was going to support him and be behind him at every step of the way, and letting him know that I do support that for him, and I do hear you when you tell me that you're tired, and I do feel that, and I want, if anything, I want you to be not that more than you maybe do because you stayed, but like I encourage that, and then when he like recently he left a position he was at for some time and got a great offer afterwards. But before the offer, I know that there was some doubt, or maybe, like I said, he's not the type to go without a job or working. And when he came home, I remember just wanting him to know that like it was gonna be okay. So I bought gifts and flowers and just like just like this is because I remember him being so sad because he had been there for so long, and I think it was the universe, God, that put I'd never seen a bag like this or seen this message on a bag anywhere. But I went to Walgreens to pick up a bag, and the gift bag that I bought him some coats and some clothes, and the bag said "Best day ever." And when I left it for him, I knew that he would feel that, because I wanted him that to resonate with him, to know that this piece of freedom is what you deserve. It's not anything to be sad about. This is just a stepping stone. And so just like in writing and I write stuff like that in cards, and just like always like really truly being vocal. For me, I'm a little bit more vocal and a little bit more like I'm a writer. I was an English major at Morehouse. So like I'll write, love letters basically is what they are to him, and like, I know he feels that because that resonates with him, I don't necessarily need that, but I know that it resonates with him. And so I do that for him.
What is one thing you learned about yourself through your marriage?
One thing that I learned about myself through my marriage, I'm still growing. I still have things to learn, not even just in my marriage, but as an individual. That would be my honest answer.
How do you prioritize self care while being married?
I prioritize self-care. I'm really fortunate. I feel like in some people's relationships, they feel like they have to sacrifice so many parts of themselves. And I'm really fortunate to have a husband that allows me the space and time to really kind of adjust and like figure things out for myself and like feel my own life. I'm like super active, and a lot of times my emotions kind of like can be taken up, down, around, all over the place. And Reggie kind of rides the wave, and he'll give me the space to be like, all right, some days I'll go to the park, I go to the river a lot, like I'm a Pisces, the people love zodiacs. And I'll go to the river and I'll read my book and I'll meditate and I'll pray, and I really appreciate still, even though we have a spiritual connection and we'll pray together, I appreciate also still being able to have that personal space to do that for myself. So I mean, I take a lot of self-care days actually.
Take me back to 2015 when you guys met.
So it's 2015, and I was going through a lot of things. I think I was going through a lot of things emotionally, relationship wise. I was actually in another relationship at the beginning of the summer, and Reggie probably hit me up. It might have been like June, July. He hit me up. He's like, "Yo, what's up? I'm trying to get to know you." This is Facebook, so at this time, it's like, like there are dating apps and there's like Instagram, but this is Facebook, so it's like I'm like, okay, who's hit me up on Facebook? First off, I only check it every 3 weeks, so I'm just like, I was already late responding. But I'm like, I'm actually currently in a situation. He was like, okay, I respect that, and like, I said to him, I was like, but if you ever want to be friends, I would love to still be cool and cordial. I love meeting people, and then like 2 weeks later, that relationship ended, and it happened to be his birthday, and it was his 27th birthday, and Reggie at the time he still is a gorgeous man, and he took his birthday pictures, and I slid in the DMs. And I was like, happy birthday, friend. Okay, happy birthday, friend. I don't know if you remember me, but, I just wanted to say happy birthday, and that's really how it started. And it was like, we spent like 2 months, like courting and like talking. And I think that was what was really healthy for our relationship, actually, is that there wasn't the physical element so much. Because at that time I was living in Atlanta. Reggie was living in Memphis. And we talked all day long, and while he was at work, I'd be sitting on FaceTime, and while I was at work, he would be sitting on FaceTime, and I would be on FaceTime. And actually, when I write down so in my life, I write down chapters or pieces of my life that I give titles, and that title I gave Baywatch. Because we just spent all day just watching each other. Like, even if we were sleeping, like, we would just literally sit there and just watch each other. And he came down here one weekend, and we spent the weekend together. And we, like, hung out, and we stayed at the Westin downtown. And he told me that he had gotten a job opportunity in Texas, and that he was considering moving to Texas. And at this time, again, we're talking in this Memphis to Atlanta, which is only like 4 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours if I'm driving, five and a half if he's driving. But, Texas is hours away, and it was like, it didn't make sense to even continue it or to continue trying to pursue each other if like he was going to be moving further away. And Reggie made the first big sacrifice, and he turned down the job in Texas, and he moved here for me only 3 months after knowing me, and that was 6 years ago now. And like, he's a pretty cool guy, I have to say. Like, I've never met somebody that has been willing to sacrifice themselves and like really truly love a person for who they are and all of their individuality, because I'm very different, and it takes a lot. I know it's not easy, I feel for him because I couldn't be with me, I could not, but he makes it work, and I appreciate him so much. I can never express how much I appreciate him.
So Reggie, seeing that it was only 3 months before you made that big sacrifice, what was it about him that was like, you know what, I could sacrifice this for you?
That's a good question. It was different. I'm big on feelings, so it felt different. It was something, because of course I've dated before, things don't work out, but I felt a connection to Wsir when I met him, and I felt like, why not take this chance? Why not? And when I moved to Atlanta, I didn't have employment. I just saved up a couple of months at my other jobs, and I said, you know what, let's do this. So I came down. Lord was with us both, because it was a little rocky at first, but it was just different. And I knew that he was somebody I wanted to continue to get to know. So I decided to take that chance. And long behold, here we are still 6 years later.
And married.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never thought I would have said that. I was walking around like The Color Purple with Celie, which is like, I'm married now. I'm talking to people, because who would have thought? That's what I always say. It was like, who would have thought me? But yes, man, married. It's crazy.
What about your partner made them the one for you?
Is that your question? I would like to hear this.
Well, you know, we are like peanut butter and jelly. You know, it's just like, it's not necessarily something that you would think works, but it works. You know, Reggie, like I said, I'm very, besides being very peculiar as a person and having my own quirks and like necessities, just emotionally, I'm super ambitious. And a lot of my ambition takes me out of a relationship. And I remember opening in the relationship, I would say, like, I really just want a serious relationship so I don't have to worry about the relationship part, you know? Like, I don't have to focus on learning people and meeting somebody. Like, I know somebody's at home because I'm going out to hustle. I have all of these dreams. You know, like, even, like, in the last couple of years, like, my life has really kind of escalated in such a way that has taken me away a lot. You know, like, I was creative director for Slutty Vegan. So I was traveling nonstop, you know, and Reggie just be right there, just holding it down at the house, making sure the dogs is fed. And I appreciate him so much for that, you know. And like, I tell anybody every day, like, I owe Reggie so much, just being able to maintain the stability and the peace for me that my quirky Piscean self is all over the place and dreaming, and he just holds me down. He's a rock, you know, he's my rock. And it just worked. Like I said, peanut butter and jelly.
We weren't gonna be together if we didn't get married after a certain amount of time. So
No, girl, that was not me.
That was definitely
not me, girl.
That was definitely.
So who proposed?
I did.
So what made you propose?
What made me propose? I felt like it was time. It had been 5 years, and you know, I knew that we would spend the rest of our lives together. We had already been through thick and thin, and he is. He's my best friend. He is who I want to continue to do life with. So, marriage and 2 dogs later, here I am, just trying to stay as youthful as possible.
If your love story had a title, what would it be named?
So it would be named "It Won't Always Come Easy," only because I think, and it's funny to me. I'll use social media for an example. Like, people will praise you and say, oh, relationship goals, or you guys are so cute, but they only get to see that small aspect of a 60-second video or an image that, you know, can last forever, but that's just social media. You show people that. And I mean, not to say that I think it's fake or that I think it's untruthful, but those are just moments in time. Like, relationships are definitely hard work. They're hard work, but I mean, nothing's perfect, you know, and the outcome is wanting to be greater, wanting things to last, wanting, you know, I see so many relationships. I was literally just speaking to somebody about this the other day. Like, I'll have friends or people that I see online, and they're with one person there, and they're supposedly in love, and they're doing all this, that, and the other with them, and then before you know it, all of their pictures are gone, or you see somebody else on their timeline. And I think with social media, I have become more selective, and well, he's my husband now, so I post him, but I'm more selective with certain things that I post, only because it's just like, you know, you want to be able to live. You want to be able to not always feel like you have to put on a show online. And he's more socially active online than I am now. And that's only because that's a business aspect for him. But, you know, that's where I'm at with it. Yeah.
It won't always come easy. Yeah, no, I think that is fitting. I think that especially what is unique about queer relationships, and one thing that I appreciate so much about it, is that we get to define them for ourselves. Mm-hmm. I feel like we all so often kind of try to fit ourselves into this heteronormative box about who we need to be to each other in this dreamland Disney fairy tale princess story that's never been written for any of us, you know, that, you know, we want to fit into that. And it's not about that. It's about doing what works for you all, you know? And that's what I think that Reggie and I do. And I think that because in spite of so many people whose relationships are so influenced by external sources. I think we're very, like, I pride myself on being very private when it comes to our relationship and what we have going on, because it's not always going to be perfect. It's more times not perfect than it is, and that's okay. But the key is knowing the worth of it to work for it. And I think we both do, and I think we both have, and that has been the story throughout. So like, yeah, I think that's a fitting title. Your love feels like home.
Your love is inspiring.
Thank you for entering into our love journal.
Hey y'all, I'm Ramsey, the creator of Love Journal. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please go follow me and the beautiful couple that you just saw below in the description box. I have one question for you before you leave, as per usual. What is your dream love story and why? Feel free to comment it or go write it down in your own journal. Before you leave, make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you back next week.